When you first start a business, one of the biggest shocks you eventually experience is realizing that being the hardest working person in the room does not guarantee success. It does not guarantee growth, and it definitely does not guarantee that you will get paid what you actually deserve. In fact, sometimes the opposite happens. You will see incredibly talented people, highly intelligent people, people with real experiences, real integrity, real skill sets, struggling financially while less qualified businesses dominate the market. And honestly, this realization frustrates a lot of founders because they were taught that hard work alone creates success. But the truth is, business growth is not tied to success alone. It is tied to principle, it is tied to positioning, it is tied to structure, and it is tied to understanding where your value actually belongs in the marketplace. And one of the biggest mistakes I see founders make is this. They build businesses around what they personally like instead of building around what the actual demand, opportunity, scalability exists. I remember speaking to a business owner some time ago, and she was incredibly gifted in what she does. She had the knowledge, she had the experiences, she had the heart, she was genuinely good at her work. But financially, her business wasn't growing the way it should have. And after reviewing the business, the issue wasn't talent. The issue was positioning. She was offering a valuable service to the wrong market. Here's the thing, there's a major differences between being appreciated and being strategically necessary. Because businesses that solve high priority, high cost, high urgency problems are positioned differently in the market. They attract different buyers, different partnerships, different pricing opportunities, different level of trust. That's why positioning matters so much. Positioning is understanding who needs you most, what problems you actually solve, how costly that problem is, and how your business should be structured and presented to become the obvious solution. And that's why I'm so passionate about what we are building here at the Redeem Advisory Group. Because let's be frank, most founders do not need more random motivation. They need clarity, they need strategy, and they need structure. They need someone to help them understand where the business is weak, where opportunities are lacking, where growth is blocked, where systems are missing, where compliance gaps exist, where operational risks are hiding, and how to position a business for long-term sustainability and growth. And that's why our advisory model is intentionally selected, because this is not one generic question. This is not let's post more content and hope something happens. This is strategic business optimization. We work closely with founders, professional, and growing companies to help them strengthen the actual infrastructure of the business, meaning structure, compliance, funding readiness, documentation, operations, positioning, systems, and long-term scalability. Because when your business is structured correctly, everything changes. Your business becomes easier to trust, easier to partner with, easier to fund, easier to scale. And opportunities start finding you differently because the business itself begins to operate at a different level. That's the goal, not just growth, but sustainable growth. Not just visibility, but credibility. Not just revenue, but infrastructure. And over the next phase of your journey, one of the biggest questions you need to ask yourself is this: is my business truly positioned for the level of success I say I want? Because many businesses are working so hard, but very few are actually structured to scale. And those are two completely different things. So if you are serious about building something stronger, something more organized, something more credible, something more fundable, something capable of lasting long term, then this may be exactly the right next step for you. And if it is, I look forward to speaking with you soon. Click the link in my bio and fill out a business readiness audit. Let's go.